What's up, Grief Nation listeners? This is Miami Knight, your Master Grief Educator and Trainer. And we're here today with Takisha Jacobs and her amazing, beautiful son that's behind her there, Abdul Cross. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Doing really well. So tell me about this beautiful picture of Abdul behind you.
Yeah, I got it from the funeral home when we had to bury Abdul. They made these blankets, and this side has his face, and the other side of it has me and him. There's a picture that we took together after one of his successful football games. We
Yeah.
took a picture together. We would always, whenever, after any game, we would always go out to eat afterwards.
Hmm.
And so that was like one of the first games where he like showed out and he was really excited about it. And so it's like a precious picture.
Yeah. So
So,
tell us the grief journey that you've had and what all happened with you losing your son.
well, when I lost my son, he was 15 years old. And we went to Indianapolis to visit family. My oldest son lived in Indy. We had previously lived in Indy, but we moved away in 2013. And my mom, she had got into a car accident, and I ended up having to move back to South Bend. And my oldest son didn't want to move back; he wanted to stay. I have a sister there, my best friend, cousins. So I've got a lot of family in Indy.
Okay.
And we went down there to visit my oldest son. His birthday is July 5th. So July 3rd, we went down there to visit and have fun, July 4th, Independence Day, fireworks. And South Bend is little. Indianapolis is big, and they've got a lot of big fireworks shows and a lot of big things that go on down there. So we went to go visit and have fun for the 4th, and then my oldest son's birthday. Well, I let Abdul stay with his brother to go get their hair cut and get some outfits for the day for the 4th. And I left them at about 7:30. It was 7:33 or 7:34 p.m. We pulled away out of the apartment complex, and they were going to get their haircuts. And so we went to the hotel and checked in, and about 11:30 I called and I didn't get an answer, but I just assumed, my oldest son, he's got a flashy car, so they are riding around in his Camaro. And I'm just there. He's like, my oldest son is like the big brother dad.
Yeah.
I have 5 kids, so he kind of helped raise the kids. And so I just let it go, and I fell asleep, and I woke up to a phone call. My oldest son called and said that Abdul was shot in the leg. And I was like, what? So I have 14 years of experience in critical care, and I know you always stay calm in a hectic situation. You
Hmm.
have to stay calm. So I got up, and I was calm, and I'm telling everyone, we got to go. Abdul's at the hospital. He was shot. And I didn't know what all had occurred at that time. So I went to the hospital, and they didn't know who. They were like, no, we don't have him. I went to Eskenazi first, and then we went to Riley because Abdul is 15. So I thought maybe they sent him to Riley Hospital. Well, Riley didn't have him, and then the charge nurse there, I was talking to her, and I'm like, I work in the hospital, so I know, like, if you have a John Doe or something like that, if you have someone here that didn't have an ID, they're labeled as a John Doe. Well, I know I can give you a lot of identifying markers. This is
Hmm.
my 15-year-old son, and he's big. He plays football. He's a lineman. He's big, and he looks older. And so she was checking. A couple hours have passed by, and finally, they asked, where was he shot at? Like, where was the location? And so I looked at my son, and he was like, at the apartments. And they pulled it up on the computer, and she was like, he was shot where? And I told her the apartment, and her face, I was like, what's wrong? What's the problem? And she said, come here, you can look at this. And she turned the screen, and I walked around the desk, and there was a car my son's Impala was shot up, like really bad, from the front bumper to the back on the driver's side of the car. And I was like, that's it. Darius looked and we're like, yeah, that's his car. And I'm looking like, wait a minute, he was shot in the leg. He hadn't called me, and my two of my boys are mama's boys. So I was like, he hasn't called me or anything for him to just be shot in the leg. He would have called me.
Mm-hmm.
And so a detective, I had to wait for a detective to come to talk to me, to release the information for me to even go into the hospital. And I'm like, what? And so we ended up back at Eskenazi, which was where he was at, and a chaplain came down and talked to me. And I was like, okay, so stop. Is my son dead? And he said, no, he's not. But we just have to make sure. And so I go up there and he was on life support. And I'm like, why is he on life support? So I'm thinking, okay, well, maybe the artery was hit and he was bleeding out. But that can be fixed. And with some therapy, I'm very optimistic. Then I moved the covers and I'm looking, and there was bullet little pieces like everywhere. And I was like, are these bullet holes, or is this from thinking it's the metal from the car that was hitting it?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was one big patch. There was a patch on his thigh, and the nurse it was a lot of blood, so the nurse had to clean it and whatnot. And so I'm looking, and it was the size of a quarter. The entry wound was the size of a quarter. And I was like, what the hell? And then I'm looking, there's also a bunch of holes. Like, it was just all on the left. There was some like under his arm, on the side by his ribs. There were some like down by his shin. There was that big hole on the side, and then they had to turn him over to clean him and clean his dressing on his bottom. He had four bullet holes in his butt, literally in his butt. And so I'm like, why would someone want, why? He's 15. We don't live in Indianapolis, and when we moved away, he was 12. So who would he be beefing with that would want to shoot him like that? Right. Obviously nobody. Mm-hmm. And so come to find out, everyone that night when the shots went off, Abdul went to the car to get his phone out of the car, and Darius had ran to the gas station. Him and two other boys had ran to the gas station, and then Abdul went and got his phone and was calling Darius, seeing where he was at. Yeah. And he was sitting in the car waiting for Darius to pull back up. Well, 3 guys walked up and thought that Abdul was someone else and shot the car up. All of them, when they shot up the car, Darius was on the phone with Abdul, and they were coming back from the gas station, which was literally like 2 blocks, like a turn out of the apartment and down the street turn, and the gas station's right there. So Darius was coming across the bridge where the gas station was and turning into where the apartments were. So he heard the gunshots. He was on the phone with Abdul. Then he turned into the apartment complex, and the guys were coming out, and they instantly got into a gunfight again. And then the police had heard the first set of gunshots. So the police were also on the way. So in these moments, each moment, like, you don't know, but each moment literally matters. Yeah. This one moment, they're shooting up Abdul. The second moment, them and Darius and the other 2 guys in the car are in a gunfight. Then the police were coming up. So everybody that was out there, except for one individual, got taken down to the aggravated battery office. Okay. So that's why I didn't hear anything from anyone, because Abdul was on life support, and Darius and his 2 friends, and then the other 2 of the guys out of the 3 were all down at the homicide aggravated battery office. Mm-hmm. So they let them all go, which I'm still kind of like, how? If there was a whole shootout, there's someone here critically, like gravely injured.
Yeah.
And how do everyone get let go? Um,
Wow.
9 days we were in the hospital. And Abdul, one day, like the first, like about the third, fourth day, no, up until like the fifth day, he would respond. I would talk to him. He'd shake his head. We'd pray. Um, I would talk. He would squeeze my hand. He'd look left to right. I asked him, was he scared? He shook his head, yeah. But he was responding to things. And then about the sixth day, he took a turn for the worse, and he had by that time he had had three surgeries. One was the first surgery was an exploratory surgery to see where he was injured. The second one, they went in to see where he was injured and to see if they could close him up. They closed him up, then they had to go back in and open him back up. When they closed him up, he started to become septic. Um, and so they had to they were telling me that he had too much potassium in his blood and all this and that, but he had an infection, and he had a colostomy bag, and then they had to take it out because there was blood in the bag. And I kept telling them, something's wrong. And then finally they went in the third time and they opened him back up. And when he came back upstairs, I knew he had died on the table down there, but they kept him going. Once he went into septic shock, and it hit his kidneys. And like in a matter of hours, he went from yellow urine to dark, almost black urine in a matter of hours.
Wow.
And then I'm like, so why they wouldn't do a CAT scan because they were afraid that it was going to kill his kidneys. Well, if he has to do dialysis, we can get through this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have kidneys. We are his sisters. We all have kidneys. Like, I'm not worried about it, but he needed a CAT scan to see what was going on.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he passed away due to being shot multiple times and septic. He septic shock, basically. He went into septic shock. It hit his kidneys. It started killing his organs. Like so fast.
Yeah.
And then at 8:15 a.m. on July 12th, he passed away.
I'm so sorry to hear that. I know as a mom, losing your son, don't nobody understand that moment but you.
Mm-hmm.
I am so sorry that that happened to you and your family. So how and I have to ask this because I know, like, throughout my journey of just people supporting me, how have the children been, the siblings? Because that's a true loss even for them. How have your children been able to deal with this?
Luckily for us, my kids have been in a program called Transformation Ministries.
Mm-hmm.
They have different things that they do with Transformation Ministries. They are a Christian-based organization. They do things from getting kids jobs to mentoring, tutoring, Bible study time. Like, they do so many things. And luckily, my kids have been in the program for 3 years by that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had a huge support system,
Praise God.
we have a huge support system, not just with like family,
Yeah.
but with other people that my kids can talk to.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the girls, the younger ones.
Mm-hmm.
They had them there. My oldest son, he didn't have um he didn't ha- he had it available, but he felt so at fault. um and he didn't know how to deal with the he didn't know how to deal or cope with what he had going on in his head.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. And he turned around a month later and went and shot someone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that the guys that shot my son, he shot one of their moms. And he went to jail. He went to prison. He's in prison now about it. And I would try to talk to him, about I was trying to console him, but I obviously wasn't doing it right because I was also grieving myself.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. I didn't know how to deal with it. But now we all have therapists, psychologists, counselors. I mean, we're surrounded with that. And the things that I'm learning along the way, I'm talking to my son over the phone and reassuring him and reminding him, of that he's loved, and that don't blame him for what all has occurred, and that he's needed. And so right now they're in an okay place. All four of my kids are they're okay. They still try to hide it. They still try not to talk about it, and that has a lot to do with me and not wanting me to be stressed out. And so I did learn that it's okay to cry in front of my kids.
Absolutely.
It's okay to let them see me drop to my knees and just cry, because then it lets them know that they can open up to me as well. So that's
thank you so much for sharing that. It's very important for families to recognize not only the loss of a child, but sibling loss. The grandparents suffer. And I just wanted to make sure that we had highlighted that, because that is so critical for us understanding. Not only, yes, we can say, shout out to the mother and the father, but the children, they suffer, and, they're still growing. So they have a lot that they have to process. So I just really think that it's important. And this just gets me into the segue of all the things that you've been doing within your community and supporting other kids. How did you become a part of Jumping for Jesus?
Loria. She I had a remembrance ceremony. It was to remember Abdul. This was on his year anniversary of when he passed away. It was to remember Abdul, but it was also for all of his friends and family to remember that they're needed, and to remember their worth, and to remember who they are to their moms or fathers or brothers and sisters. So I had this, it was a huge thing, and Loria came, and she came with this wreath. And it was a wreath, and it was a memorial wreath for Abdul, and it had his picture in it, and it had the light in there. And she was like, "Oh, we got to get together," and I'm real standoffish and not really trying to make new friends, and I'm trying to deal with, my emotions and all that. And she was just really persistent.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, after a while, I said, okay, let me just see what she's talking about. And I stopped being so angry and just like let her I want to see more. And so she was telling me, what her vision was, and her son had passed away just a few months before mine, and in April. And so she was on the same path. She, was walking the same walk. And so she was telling me about, the kids and how important they are to her, and how they're helping her with dealing and coping with her son's death. And I'm like, dang, they doing, the same thing for me. And so, but we're like, who's helping them?
Yeah.
And so that's how I got involved with Jump, and is the reach out for the kids. And that's what we do. We reach out to the not just little kids. We're talking like 25 and younger, 30 and younger.
Okay.
My son is 25. So anybody under the age of 25, I call a kid.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So we have all of these 30-year-olds and younger that they have a voice. The problems that we are seeing now is with these kids from the age of 30 down to 15, 14, 15, 16. And so to give them a voice, putting them on the radio, and hearing what they feel is a solution to stop some of this gun violence,
Mm-hmm.
and not just gun violence, just the senseless violence that has been occurring, giving them a platform to express themselves and hear what they have to say, and then we put action behind it.
Absolutely.
Is really important. And so that's what we do. That's why I got started with Jump,
Mm-hmm.
because I respected what she was talking about. I respected how she felt, and I respected the fact that she respected the kids and not just looked at them like, you have to respect me, or you do what I say, or I can make money off of this, or I can put you, I want, like, she wasn't looking for something in return. She
Right.
literally just wanted to push all of the unconditional love onto some of these kids that don't get it, you know?
Yes.
And she wanted to push all of the resources, anything that we could find that will help them, because they're grieving just as well as we are. Yes, there are babies. Yes, we had them and we know them and all of that. But at their age, at 15 and at 19, 18, your friends mean everything to you. They mean
Right.
everything. And
Yeah.
so we know that these kids are grieving just like we're grieving.
Mm-hmm.
It's different, but they're grieving and they're hurt. Just,
Mm-hmm.
we feel when one of our people that are our age pass away, we be like, dang, that's heavy.
Yeah.
Kids are feeling the same way, but I'm an adult. I'm grown. I'm 40. So we're dealing with it in these kids that are 14, 15, 16 are dealing with the same thing. And
Yeah.
it's so traumatizing. And
Yeah.
so getting involved with Jump was like one of the best things I could have ever done to help these kids get a platform and speak out against gun violence and to prevent it. Not just talking about it, but putting the left foot in front of the right foot and taking steps to have some action behind our words.
Right. So tell me some of the partnerships that you guys have, people that you've partnered with, and how that's making an impact along with Jump.
Well, we have gotten together with Bullets for Life. We are Bullets for Life Indiana chapter. And they have, the cause is like awesome. Like taking bullets off the streets. My son was shot about 20 times.
Yeah.
And taking 20 bullets off the street at a time is like heaven to me.
Amen.
Taking that is like a thing of, my son was shot 20 times, and here I'm taking these 20 bullets and I'm taking the life out of these bullets and making 20 bracelets instead
Yes.
of being in someone's body or someone's home or
Mm-hmm.
someone's car, like that means so much.
Yeah.
And so we've partnered with them because we love the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And tell us the mission behind Bullets for Life, and so that people that don't know understand.
well, to me, our mission for Bullets for Life Indiana
Mm-hmm.
is to donate a bullet and save a life.
Mm-hmm.
That is the mission.
Yes.
That's what we are. That's what we do. We accept donations and we're saving lives as we're taking these live bullets off the streets.
Yeah.
That's what we do with Bullets for Life. Moms Demand Action. It's other parts of gun violence that I never thought about,
Mm-hmm.
which is the laws,
Yeah.
the political side to it.
Mm-hmm.
And they are teaching us a lot about the legislature and different laws, and our voices do matter, and going in and speaking out, making phone calls, making people aware that yes, we can stop this gun violence. Yes, let's get these gun people that do not need guns. They don't need to be able to have um, easy access
Mm-hmm.
to guns.
Mm-hmm.
So let's let our legislature know, no, we don't, you need to do better backgrounds. We need bigger background checks. We need wider background checks. We need you to put laws in place to where people should not be able to sell guns online and you meet at a gas station and do a transaction. Like,
Wow.
those are some things that, I'm learning about. And like, dang, my son was shot with a military gun,
Mm-hmm. Mm.
um like a 7.62, they call it something else, or 7.62, some, like, why is this gun on our streets?
Right.
It shouldn't be on our streets. This is stuff they use in the military. Like,
Mm-hmm.
we shouldn't have that kind of thing. So Moms Demand Action, they are literally teaching us, and I am so willing to learn. I love learning, and I'm
Yeah.
so willing to learn about the things that Moms Demand Action is putting forth. Also, be smart. Be smart. Talking about the where's your gun at? Why when we're all at our families' homes, over the holidays,
Mm-hmm.
where's your guns? Put them away. Are they locked away? That is things you don't think that you have to talk
Right.
about. But in this now today,
Mm-hmm.
seeing how these young kids are playing, they don't know any better. But everybody's in the living room and we're talking and playing, and the kids are back in the room and one sneaks off in somebody's room and they're curious and they find a gun that's just laid out. You don't think about that until something bad happens. Something bad shouldn't happen. We should be smart
Right.
and make sure things are put away and locked away. So partnering, working with them is like awesome. Black Lives Matter. Therefore, the justice. Black Lives Matter is about Black lives do matter.
Right.
And seriously, all of the shootings, the injustice in our system is wrong, and they're standing up for it. And like,
Yeah.
I am so all for all of that, and I love learning. So those are just a few of. We're also partner or working with Tattoo the World. Her brother was killed in a mass shooting here in South Bend,
Hmm.
and she is bringing awareness and fighting the gun violence as well. So she helps with a lot of the siblings that have lost their siblings to gun violence. She's trying to help them cope and deal with life after losing a sibling.
Oh, oh,
So
awesome. Awesome. I love that. I love that so much. So I know you were telling us that with the organization partnership that you have with Bullets for Life, you're taking bullets off the street. How often does that occur with the bullets being able to be taken off the streets? How often does that happen for you guys?
on a regular basis.
On a regular. I know that's right.
I
Praise.
mean, like,
Yes.
it's like every week. Every week somebody is bringing me bullets.
Yes.
They'll bring me bullets if I see them outside. I can't take their guns away, but
Yeah.
when I take their bullets, like,
Mm,
they go in the house.
mm,
Because a lot of times they don't got the money to go buy some more bullets, so they
right.
can literally go back in the house. You can't shoot, and if you afraid somebody out here looking for you, you might as well go home, bro. Go
Right.
home.
Absolutely. What you gonna be able to do?
Right.
Right.
Ain't got no bullets.
Oh, but that's just that whole concept of taking the bullets off the street and also allowing a mother or a father or sibling to be able to experience that taking the bullets off the street and being able to disassemble the bullets and all the things that you guys do. That is so meaningful, especially to mothers and siblings and children, to be able to have that experience that you are capable of being able to save a life, taking the life out of this bullet. That is so, you know, for me as a mom, I know when I first heard about the organization, that for me was just like, wow, you know, how amazing is God, was God giving Susan Kennedy the ability to have this vision to help others to know. I mean, trust me, I know that there's so many other organizations out there that has, similar, not the same, because there's a difference, similar initiatives behind, bullets and peace and,
Right.
not, I know that there's several out there, but just for her to take on this huge thing about wanting to help families and to separate the, I guess you could say, the have some type of separation between that this is normal. It's not normal and it shouldn't be normal. And we're not going to accept it as being normal, to make sure that
Right.
people understand what her purpose was and helping to collect bullets off the street so that others could be saved. And I've seen the organization grow and grow and grow. And I'm just so grateful as a mother that has lost her son, and for you and Loria and all of the other angel moms, survivor moms that are out there, that there's an initiative that is doing this, and alongside with Moms Demand Action. The wealth of information with moms is just, oh, it's amazing. And I'm grateful to, like yourself, to know that we have these things put in place to support us and other families. Now, tell me about what's been like the most difficult part of the advocacy process for you or for Burn Bullets for Life? Where's that little loophole or that makes it kind of difficult at times?
One thing that makes it difficult for me is is I don't like when people mention money. Mm-hmm. That bothers me. I'm trying to think. The loophole when you're advocating is, I guess, when someone doesn't accept the help.
Yeah.
Or as you're advocating, when someone doesn't accept the help, mm-hmm. Or they think, I don't know how to really word it. To see someone that you are working hard for, mm-hmm. fall down and don't want to get back up.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's a difficulty in advocating. That's really the main thing.
Yeah.
Is someone falls
down. And of course that's difficult because you're trying to do, it's not that we can compare our story to somebody else's and we can't say, well, I know how you feel. I mean, you can say that, but you shouldn't. But you really got to meet people like where they are in their grief or along the journey and just be okay. And with you having such a big heart, me having such a big heart, I know that's difficult when you're just really trying to help uplift them and they're not ready, but it's in their own timing. It's just, I definitely understand that could be challenging when you really want to support somebody and they're not ready. What do you do in that instance?
I'll reach out. I don't get on their nerves with the reach out, right. But still, I'll do something nice. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some sort of pop up, or we'll make them a bracelet and give it to them. You know, just hit them up every now and then. Mm-hmm. And then after a while, matter of fact, that's what Loria did with me. She would hit me up. I would reject her. Uh-huh. And then she kept. And then once I was ready, so that's really what we do. We won't keep hitting you up every day or anything like that, because then that'll make a person just go, okay, block.
Too much. Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'll just, every so often, I'll just, hey, thinking about you, how you doing? Mm-hmm. And can we meet? Let's mm-hmm. go out to eat and we'll go to the chocolate cafe, have a bite to eat. We've done that
Mm-hmm.
before, had a bite to eat. And then sometimes they'll unload. And sometimes they're still like, okay, I'm done. That's good. No more. And that's it.
So the key here, I think you're saying, of course, is that it's just being consistent, but also allowing them to have their time.
Yep.
Yeah, that's very important.
Consistency is the key.
Yeah. So being an angel mom, is there any personal message that you would like to share with other moms of things that, they should do, or they could do, not should do, but things that they could do along their path?
Pray, pray, pray,
Amen.
pray, pray, pray. And a positive, I'm
You're
sorry.
fine. You're
The,
fine.
positive affirmations, every
Mm-hmm.
day.
Yeah.
And just know that you're needed, that
Mm-hmm.
you're wanted, and you'll be surprised at when you just, as an angel mom, when I just reach out to some of these kids, like the way their faces light up
Yeah.
just from me calling. And
Mm.
as an angel mom to another angel mom,
Mm.
sometimes you don't know what you need until you do something that you're uncomfortable with doing.
Mm-hmm.
Me, that was reaching out to a whole bunch of kids that I really didn't know. Some of them I already knew, a lot of them,
Mm-hmm.
but some of them I didn't know. And being available and being vulnerable, that helped me with my grief.
Mm-hmm.
So, as from one angel mom to the next, I would say that you are needed, you are wanted, and sometimes you got to be uncomfortable a little bit to figure out what it is that you need.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And I'm just so grateful to you and Loria and the host of other angel moms and survivor moms that I met, that we are our own community. Really, we are our own community. And I thank you for the support that you have given to me, and days that I need to talk, and days that you need to talk, days that Loria needs to talk. I'm just so grateful for the women that I've come encounter along my journey with the whole gun violence initiative, that I have a support team and a community that we understand each other's story. Um, and that, not that we're comparing our stories, but that we understand each other and where we may be in a day. So thank you for your support. Are there any, is there any like gun violence legislation that is really important that is happening in your area, or that you may know about, or that you can share with us?
As of right now, no.
Okay.
Indiana is the worst right now.
Wow.
Indiana is the gateway to a lot of the neighboring states
Mm-hmm.
as to why people are getting so many guns. Because right now in Indiana, you can literally get online, look up Indiana Arms List,
Mm-hmm.
and text somebody, find they have guns for sale. You can text them and say, I want to buy this, and they will meet you at a gas station, purchase the weapon, and drive off. So, like right now for South Bend, there are no, there's nothing really stopping the gun. We have no gun sense right now.
Yeah.
We are in the works of doing a lot, going to the state building actually on the 14th, the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
There is the advocacy day on
Yes.
the, and we will be joining Moms Demand Action
Mm-hmm.
and on the bus and going down there to the state house um, to put, there's they have something that they have written up that they want to present for them to take down to Washington.
Mm-hmm.
So Brianna can get on board with, some of the sense that we need. There has been, they have taken the ammunition out of the Walmarts, which
Mm-hmm.
that is
Look, one step at a time.
right.
One step at a time, one bill at a time, one bullet at a time, whatever we can do at a time. I'm I'm for it. So Do you have any gun sense candidates there, or are they becoming more aware that this is a thing that they can become a gun sense candidate in your area?
There is a candidate, and I forgot.
Yay. Yeah,
I
that's
forgot.
okay. But hey, there's one. Okay, that's important. So that's good to know that that someone is in your area, a representative that you have that is gun sense. So that's I'm so grateful for that. What are some of the programs that Jumps provide um, outside of? I know you have a lot of programs with the children, but is there other programs within Jump and also Bullets for Life that you offer?
Yeah, within Jump, we do work with a psychologist and therapist.
Hmm.
When we do our popping heels, which is through with Bullets for Life, we have psychologists and therapists there so that they help um, to teach. We know we know how to deal and cope in our own way,
Hmm.
and so we can give that advice. But they know more of the book work behind it, so we kind of mesh that together,
Hmm.
and then that helps to give the mothers, the fathers, the brothers, the sisters, the victims of gun violence. It helps to give them more tools to walk away with.
Hmm.
It gives them more resources. These doctors and and therapists that we are working with, they come with their information and they take Medicaid. So and then they're building a rapport so that people know it's okay, you can trust us.
Hmm.
So with our Poppin' Heels, it's like a grief group every month
Yes.
that we're doing. Um, and then um, we're doing we just did one this month where the kids got together with the therapist
Hmm.
and I'm so sorry, where
Oh,
the
you're
kids
fine.
got together with the therapist
Hmm.
and at they're sitting at the dining room table at home. There
Yeah.
was one of the matter of fact, the doctor came that day. It was 10 kids, and she wanted to get to know them, and she wanted to know what solutions they feel like would help. What can she do to help them
Hmm.
be their better self?
Yeah.
Um, and so that is something else that we're doing. We believe working with people that are aware of the mental health issues that is going on and that occurs with grief.
Hmm.
Um, we believe that working with those people to help educate our people
Yeah.
is like the best thing to do. So that's something that
Absolutely.
we do.
Now, how important are the donations for both organizations that you're with? Tell us what the needs are for your donations. What do you need?
So our needs are we need help with buying beads to make bracelets,
Mm-hmm.
bullets. We need help with buying flowers to make wreaths with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when we are having our popping heels or the times when we're making wreaths, we have to set up for that, or we got to pay for space at a building, um, and we have to pay for food and things
Yeah.
like that. When we do these things, we do have food. We have a meal there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then we have things like we want to do a canvas and painting. So just the donations go straight towards making bracelets. The kids help make bracelets. That's giving them something to do.
Right.
Um, and we like to pay them. So when
Mm-hmm.
we have 4 or 5 kids helping us make bracelets, we want to give them money, and that makes it to when they leave, when they're
Yeah.
done helping us making the wreaths or
Mm-hmm.
they
Some
have
type of
money,
stipend. Mm-hmm.
so they have to go to the store and
Yeah.
pull anything. That's
Mm-hmm.
it, and it's helpful, and they
Yeah.
get to vent and they get to talk, and so the donations are very important. We're right now we're taking the little bit, whatever we have, like
Mm-hmm.
whatever we have left over, we
Mm-hmm.
take that and go buy some of the things that we need to try to stay on top of what our needs are. But we do have people, when they purchase a wreath,
Mm-hmm.
we have wreaths that we do sell, and then the majority of them are gifted. We don't
Yeah.
send to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the memorial wreaths are gifted to the families that have lost. And the bracelets, we gift them to the mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters, and victims. They're gifted. They
Absolutely.
don't pay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, they don't pay for their first bracelet. So the donations go towards that, and it goes to feeding the people when they come out and help with solutions and things like that. We feed them. We take
Mm-hmm.
them off the streets for a few hours. So
Yeah.
that's where the donations go.
Wow. And how do they donate?
Um, we have a Cash App,
Mm-hmm.
which is Bullets for Life Indiana,
Okay.
money sign Bullets for Life Indiana, or money sign Takisha, MZKISHA 466, and that goes to our wreath making things. And we're
Okay.
also on Facebook
Okay.
at Bullets for Life Indiana, and Instagram at Bullets underscore for underscore life underscore Indiana underscore. That's our Instagram
All
handle.
right. Okay. So tell us, how has the media played a part, or radio? How do they play a part in supporting you guys?
So the radio, we get our kids on the radio, and they answer questions about the violence and what do they feel would be an effective solution.
Mm-hmm.
And people call in and people ask them questions, so what can we do to help you? And they, it's like getting advice and giving advice. And
Mm-hmm.
we're hearing it from the mouths of the ones that they're saying all of the violence is stemming from.
Yeah.
Um, and so that with the radio, they help. WUBS has helped us do that. The media has put us on. We are on the news.
Great.
We've been on the news a couple of times.
Good.
Um, just they're very interested in popping the bullets. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's very interesting. There's actually a newscast, ABC 57 in South Bend has us on there, and we're showing her how we pop the bullets actually right there on the news.
Awesome. 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 That is just an amazing thing. I'm so proud of you and Loria and the Bullets for Life movement, and a jump movement, especially showing up, I know, to some of those families with their loved one in a wreath to gift to them. And I know it's just as important as showing up to family members and friends, gifting the bracelets. That's very touching. And I'm just excited that you guys are a part of this, and to share with the world what you guys are doing, because a lot of people don't know about Jump, and a lot of people don't know about Bullets for Life. So I'm grateful that I'm providing a space to be able to share all the
Mm-hmm.
great things that you guys are doing. So what is next for your chapter? Before I go into what is next for your chapter, tell me about some of the great things that has happened for Jump, um, because of the community and what you're doing, and how you've been able to help families with things that was unheard of until Jump came in, and now you've able to help a family with some special stuff.
So we had a thing. Well, they wanted me to speak,
Yes.
and so we came and we spoke. We spoke at a Poppin' Heel, actually, and they just wanted to know, what they wanted to know what we go through. And so when my son was killed, on he was killed July 12th. He died July 12th.
Mm-hmm.
And then his birthday is September 23rd. Well,
Mm-hmm.
on that day, a lot of the kids in the neighborhood, everyone came over, and they celebrated Abdul's birthday, and then they all left and went to a park. And when they went to the park, they went to celebrate Abdul's birthday. I don't really drink or anything, so after a while, it's time to go. Well, they went to
Yeah.
the park, and as they were at the park, someone came through and shot up the park. And a young man, Dejan, he lost his life that night. And it did something to me, because they were just celebrating my son's birthday. That's all they were doing, and someone shot up the park, and unfortunately he passed away. And so we went to we always go out to the cemetery in big numbers. There's always a bunch of them going. And I went out there on September 23rd, and he didn't have a headstone, and we couldn't find him. We didn't know where he was at. And so that is another hurdle, that it's mentally exhausting. It just is something else all the time. And so as I told my story, and this lady, she's a doctor, and she texted me and she said, I just can't get that out of my head. This young man doesn't have a headstone. And she thought that he lived in India. And I was like, no, he lives here in South Bend. And she said, I'm going to call you back on Monday. And she called me back and said, meet me at the cemetery with his family. Well, we met her at the cemetery with his family, and she bought him a headstone.
Oh.
She donated her money and bought him a headstone. That was like, me and Gloria were just so ecstatic and shocked, just from listening to a story.
Right.
Not asking for anything, but just from hearing something, it touched her heart to just say, I'm going to buy it. Yeah. The funeral home, the cemetery, the funeral home owns, I guess, the cemetery as well. They also discounted things down and got it. They printed out the layout of the headstone, and we've seen how it's going to look. But they discounted everything down so far to where the headstone was only $600.
Wow.
And so they want to put they want to get something into play where we are helping families get headstones for some of the gun violence victims.
Oh, that is such an accomplishment. Oh my gosh, that is really such an accomplishment. Oh.
It is.
Wow. Well, good job, Takisha and Jump and Lori. I'm so proud of you guys. But y'all never cease to amaze me, y'all. I mean, I've watched your initiative. I've watched Jump. I've watched Bullets for Life Indiana just take off, and you're doing some of the most amazing things, and you're teaching a lot of the other chapters what to do, how to do it, how strong you guys can be. To survivor moms, just the work that y'all are putting in and the difference that you are making in the lives of those children is amazing. I'm so grateful to know you. So what's next for your chapter?
Well, we're setting forth goals in this next year. Like not far future goals, but throughout the year, we want to have a goal for each quarter of the year.
Yeah.
Also getting our paperwork completed and done for Jump.
Yeah.
We want to have that done by the end of the year. So going into the following year, Jump will be situated. But
absolutely.
So it's just growing. Growing Jump and Bullets for Life. It's just growing it, and because like what we do, we like having the Poppin' Heels once a month, and what we're doing with the therapist and the young people, we want to keep that going every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So basically, just growing and getting stronger and not really growing outward, but growing inward. So getting deeper into what we've got already.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think I think your goal setting for 2020 coming in is perfect. Just stay the course. I'm sure it shall all work out. The doors just keep opening for you guys every time y'all do something. Once God opens a window, another door opens, and then this other door opens and another window is opening. I'm so proud of y'all. It's just been amazing to sit back and watch you guys soar. Um, is there anything that you want to leave us with as far as how your journey has been? And just, I want you to just share with the Grief Nation listeners how important it has been for you learning everything that you've learned with being a part of both of these great initiatives. But what's been the takeaway for you?
So being involved in these kids, as I haven't been as involved like this before, um, but being involved, it is some rough patches. Um, you have to be conscious of what's going on, who's doing what, and when and where. Even though your heart is pure and you have no malice, you still have to be aware that sometimes people do things that you don't know what they're doing and they'll get you involved.
Mm-hmm.
And so you always want to help, but you have to be mindful to you want to help, but you just have to be mindful that sometimes people don't want your help, or sometimes people want to use you. And so my heart is pure, and I have learned one big valuable lesson is that even though I advocate for these kids, I do respect the law, but I will never talk to the police. I'm sorry, but this is just one thing that I've learned. I will never talk to the police without an attorney,
Mm-hmm.
and without an attorney present, and that I will always advocate. I will always genuinely love the people that I come in contact with, and that I will stay strong. And for all of the people that are listening and watching and wanting to know what can they do, you have got to pray, and you've got to know that you are definitely needed. You are absolutely needed. Whatever strengths you have, bring them, because we
Yes,
need you.
absolutely. Oh, wow. Thank you so much, Takisha, for sharing your journey, sharing your story, being so open, and giving us the really what it is as far as being a part of so many great initiatives behind gun violence and supporting other families and the needs and what you guys needed. That's the most important. I really wanted to make sure that we talked about that, because I'm really hoping that my listeners and other people that get an opportunity to hear this know what you need, because that's what's important to help you guys continue on supporting the families and especially the kids that you're so passionate about. So thank you once again for being on the Miami Night Show, and also for just giving us all of your love and being supportive, also to me, in times where I've called on you. So thank you so much. And I look forward to sharing more of your story. Also, from time to time, we'll link up and whatever's new coming for Jump and what's coming for Bullets for Life. If there's something that you guys really want to get out there and have me to help you push, I'm here with you, sister. So thank you so much for being on It's the Miami Night Show, and much love and light to you and both organizations. And I wish you well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.